Back in the days, I just came back from army, and back in the days there wasn't any chances to get rid of that, so every guy in Finland had to go to army or to the jail. And I was 20, and then I met in a local restaurant a lady who became my girlfriend, and we thought that we would like to follow some band, like Eskimos used to follow for the mission, or those Bonanzas used to follow for Fields of Nephilim and the others. We wanted to be part of that kind of crew. Unfortunately, there wasn't any band in Finland which we wanted to follow, so we had to create that by ourselves. Then we bought some really crappy equipments, like a really cheapo synthesizer, Polu 800, and really crappy mixing desk, some microphones, blah blah blah. And then we thought, okay, now we have the equipment, and we started to do everything as a duo. But because we were young and stupid and we didn't have that much experience, the main problem was that we really didn't understand that we need other instruments, or at least some kind of drum machines or something like that. But we started to think. We found a third guy who wanted to play for drums, except that he didn't have any drums. We bought some even more crappy and even more cheapo stuff and started to play and did the first material for the first 7-inch. But just before I booked the very first concert for Two Witches, this drummer guy, he said that he wanted to quit, that he didn't want to be a rock star, and even if we were just a demo band back then, and he said that he will quit. So there was only Anne and I. On those days we were still calling the band as Noidat, which is a Finnish translation for witches. And then because we wanted to go international, like every youngster wants to be something and wants to go to international, of course we wanted to do that as well. And then we had the situation that we should change the name. And then we had this conversation, because Anne's favorite bands were like The Cure, The Mission, and my favorites were like Joy Division, New Order, that should we call the band as Witches or The Witches. But because there were only Anne and I, we thought, okay, we could be Two Witches. In Finnish culture and Finnish language, the word noita, which means witch, that means for both male and female, and all those witches which were burned by the Christian church back in the days in Finland, most of those were just ordinary criminals, and most of those were male. So we thought, okay, we could be those two witches. Little bit after that, we noticed that we were in a situation that we found another couple, and suddenly we had two ladies in a band, and since that we have called them as those two witches. Yeah, then we did all those mistakes then all the bands should do, like playing gigs and then recording stuff and going outside of the country, and yeah, the basic story. Okay, there were those years in early 80s when this thing was top 40 stuff all over the world, or at least in underground circles, bands like Joy Division and the others became big. Also in Finland there were a short time movement, but after the heyday of that fashion, then there wasn't anything. And a few of our friends and us, we really started the whole thing in Finland. If thinking the way how people are thinking Gothic as nowadays, there were certain bands like Advanced Art. They were our friends who were in the same circles and same blocks as us. Some other bands, and then we started to create record labels, magazines, things like that, and suddenly we create like this whole Gothic scene in Finland. Mainly it was because, for example, I was so lousy musician. I didn't know how to play anything, and when I started to compose songs, it was like making mistakes and then checking which things might work and which won't work. And in the very beginning, we tried nearly everything. We wanted to be part of Gothic scene, but we didn't know for sure. Would we like to be something like Coil or Einstein's Neubauten or Tropping Chrysler, or would we be something like New Order or Joy Division or something like that? The only thing we knew, we didn't want to be the Sisters, because I haven't ever liked the band at all. Anne wanted to be something like The Cure, but I don't like The Cure either. So we thought, okay, then we have to play our own stuff. But for a beginning, we tried for these old industrial thing like Tropping Chrysler or Cabaret Voltaire or Coil, and the first recordings were like that. Then we bought the first drum machine, and suddenly we started to sound like New Order. But then we found the first drummer and bass player and guitarist, and suddenly we became so, which is how it is nowadays. My biggest idols are so far away from my style that I haven't ever been even thinking that way. I guess it became from theater, because I used to be a professional dancer in a theater, and that was before I went to army. And because I was dancing and singing in the musicals, I had to use my voice the way I'm using my voice, and I think that came from there, not from any special band or singer or artist. Yeah, I'm quite often calling myself as well like the godfather of Gothic rock in Finland, because more or less that's true. I have released so many records for the other bands as well. I have been writing to the magazines, running my own magazines, being a journalist to radio stations, organizing many different events and bringing bands to Finland. And yeah, I'm more often I'm calling myself the same way as well. Otherwise, it's really hard to understand that these years went so fast. I'm really thinking that we created the band just a few moments ago.
Come, my child, my darling love, throw back your head, your silken hair, expose your neck, lay whiteness bare. How pink the flesh, how blue the vein, how neat the tear, how slight the pain. bad.